I tell guys is like emotions are data. They tell you something about yourself. So if you lose touch with your emotions, you're actually losing data on yourself. You just don't understand yourself as well as you could or should. And then it's
Right.
like, oh, well, I like data. So tell me more about that.
That is a really great way to put that. Oh, I'm gonna reach over for a pen here, um, because someone else once said that it's not just suppressed emotion or suppressed sadness that we keep in; it's suppressed knowledge and to your
Mm,
point, suppressed data, because there's a like a sadness or negative emotion researcher I spoke to that saying that a lot of people think that crying, what happens is that you experience something and then you feel something and then you cry. And he said steps 2 or 3 are reversed. That's not how it happens. It's that something happens to you, like you're experiencing grief or overwhelm or things like that. And then you feel this biological imperative, this signal like loneliness that says, I want to cry. And then you accept that feeling, you do the physical act, and then you start to have all of the data points, all of the acceptance, all of the feelings that tells you all the things that's coming from this experience. And so if you cut off that second point, you never get to the third one. You can't just go straight to like, oh, I accept all of these things that happen and you get all this wisdom. No, because you've told your brain that you're not feeling it, so it kind of never happened. And
right.
I've kind of went through this when I did assisted MDMA therapy, which was the first episode of this podcast, where I ended up just mourning my grandparents, and I realized that in protecting myself from accepting the sadness of their deaths, because I was abroad when it happened, and I didn't get to go to either of their funerals, so I didn't really, and I don't even think a friend of mine said this that I agree with them that I think even if I was there, I probably wouldn't have fully even been able to exercise that without the help of MDMA because I was so close to them. But once I accepted that and kind of let out all that grief, I realized that I had basically blocked off all of the love that existed between them and I in protecting myself from that pain because you can't just have pain or love, like you have to have both or you have none. And so I think about that all the time. That if we become fearful of the pain, of the grief, of the sadness, we don't just give away that; we give away all of the love that we could be feeling and have as well. And I think that is the biggest risk to not addressing more of this loneliness in men and all the grief and pain that men go through. And, I'm sure someone out there's watching saying, well, women have a lot of pain as well. And I would agree with them. I think it's not a zero sum game. I think life
No.
is hard and we can care for everybody. We can care for each other. And so when going back to your point, when you say letting yourself feel allows you to collect more data on yourself, how do your clients typically respond? What are questions that come from that?
Well, they get it. And then they say, okay, how do we do that? And I said, well, that's what this is all about.
Yeah, yeah, buckle up, pal. Yeah.
Yeah. If I could shrink a year of therapy into a couple of sentences and be done in 5 minutes, I'd love that.
Yeah.
But it doesn't work like that. It's, even to your point, psychotherapy is a process of self-discovery and understanding yourself much better so you can not only think about yourself but engage with the world around you in a different, more adaptive, productive, meaningful way. And
Right.
that just takes time. It takes time.
Yeah.
And so, when I tell guys, this is going to be the hardest thing that you've ever done, pretty much all of them think I'm full of shit at the beginning.
Yeah.
But once they're in the thick of it, and it's like, God damn it, you were right. This is tough. This is
Yeah.
tough. But if you can commit to it and trust the process, that's why it's so important to find somebody that you have a good connection with, because that
Hmm.
connection matters incredibly. But also believe that you deserve health, good health, happiness. And that may sound obvious, of course, that's why I'm here. But for a lot of people, they feel that they don't deserve it. And that really gets in the way. And then you have to get underneath that. Why? Why don't you feel like you deserve